We are on the Great Lake Brewery with Sol Kilaris, Environmental Programs Coordinator. This company provides to fertilize the garden with the remnants of beer production and receive, in the course of the season, the vegetables to be used in the kitchen of the pub.
We make beer, first and foremost. Most of the beer that we drink in the United States isn't very good, and so we thought we could make a product that was better than Budweiser and Miller.
Great Lakes is not an average brewery. What makes it special?
Well, besides the quality of the beers, we also have a focus on sustainability, and we're interested in our impacts on the environment, our impacts on community, our own employees, and so I think that sets us apart.
So what type of programs do you have for sustainability?
Well, first and foremost, it has to do with the brewing process itself. So making the same product with the same quality, using less energy, using less electricity, less natural gas, less water. We've got Lake Erie right here. The Great Lakes are 20% of the world's freshwater resources, and so we want to protect that into the future.
The collaboration with that organization has led to the formation of the largest urban farm within the city limits, here in Cleveland. The next 6 hectares of Ohio City Farm, adjacent to the West Side markets, receive new life with urban agriculture. They were not used since 1999 and have been tested before use in agriculture.
When did you start your garden?
We started last July. We had half of a growing season last year. We planted in middle of July and had produce in August and September, and this is our first full growing season out there.
What is the particularity of the garden? Where did you get your compost?
We actually purchased it. So the land is owned by the Housing Authority, they're a government agency, but the land is also sinking into the river. So they can't build on it, but they let us grow vegetables on it. So the first year we purchased compost to add into it. It was uncontaminated soil, it was clean soil, but it needed just some more of that organic matter, so we purchased it in year 1.
Okay, and which is the relationship between the brewery and the garden? I know that you use the food waste of the brewery.
That's right.
To the garden.
Well, we're one of 4 partners that are farming at the farm this year, but we take our brewer's grains down there, and we use that this year since we have more time. We started last year composting our brewer's grains out there. That's what's left over after we're finished brewing, and we take it there and mix it with wood chips, and it makes a great soil amendment. So that's what we use for soil fertility.
But that's not the only program in Cleveland. Also, the zoo is participating in increasing soil productivity. Here, what they do.
All right, so my name's Nancy Hughes. I'm the Compost and Recycling Coordinator at Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. Our compost program started in the late 90s, basically. We took a look at all of our recycling and composting efforts here throughout the zoo. And we started on a small scale, like in and around some of our animal barn areas, with just small compost bins. And then we expanded our program. We've got a half-acre compost site. It's called a windrow process. And basically, the components that you need for good composting or to help nature along is the right food mix. So we've got carbons and nitrogens. The carbon is the straw and wood shavings from the animal bedding materials. And then we've got the food, the nitrogen component, which would be the manures, and a few food scraps here and there from the animals. So that basically makes up the food component. And then to get oxygen into the pile, which keeps the process moving along, we turn it with a front end loader. And moisture, actually we've got way too much moisture right now because it's raining quite a bit, but we try to keep the moisture content low, between 40 and 60%. We have limited quantities because we have more materials to make compost with than we have room to compost. And we've talked about various ways to expand that whole operation down the road. We're looking into waste to energy or anaerobic digestion, or just expanding our whole compost site as a windrow site, or an in-vessel type system. So those are some of the options that we're looking at to expand the process. But the manures, the finished or mature compost that we create And we have a sale every spring and fall. And it goes to, there's some 80 or 90 community gardens throughout the city. We have just local residents that buy the compost. So there's a lot more urban farming popping up in our area, in Cleveland area. So a lot of people I'm getting more calls for more of the material. I don't have enough to actually distribute all over the place. I'm standing in one of our windrows. This is one of the piles that is ready to be used. This one's about 10 months old. The one next to me is about 12 months old. I have room for 5 rows that I process year-round. You can see the weather is kind of not so nice, but we do compost year-round. Okay, so that's the mature compost. We have one more process that we have to do. We have to screen it so that it gets a nice homogeneous mixture. So any big sticks or trash that happen to be in the pile, we can screen those out, and then it's good to go for a garden. So this is the next pile. I don't have the ages, but they're basically, this is the youngest material as we head down the pile. I just turned these yesterday. There were a few weeds growing on the piles because they've been sitting. It was time to turn them, so we turn them to get oxygen in them. And again, when it's this wet, it kind of lets it drain a little better, gets more pore space in there. And you can see this is the most current row that we've got going. This is, again, we use the manures from all of our herbivore animals. So elephants are the biggest producer. We have 5 African elephants here. So elephants, giraffes, rhinos, zebra, reindeer, camels. So any of the animals that eat only plants, it's their manure that we collect. We've got several barns around the zoo. Our garbage truck runs to all the buildings every single day and picks up this material, delivers it every single day. So we put it into these windrows, and I turn them as often as I can, at least once a week or so. We check for temperatures and moistures. I have instruments that I use to test that. So the temperature in this pile right here would be around 140 degrees because it's actively decomposing. The first pile that I was in, the temperature is actually probably below ambient temperature, so it's probably around 29 degrees, 30 degrees or so.